Hey guys, well, welcome back to Tam Talks. Guys, I'm so excited about our podcast and our YouTube video that we're going to be sharing over the next 8 weeks together. I sat down with some of my friends and the women here at Women of Influence, and they asked me, would you do a coaching series? Would you take some time and just walk us through what do we do when we feel stuck? How do we become unstoppable? And so for so many of you during this time, during the pandemic, we're right in the middle of COVID-19 and 2020 doesn't quite look like you thought it might. Maybe you feel stuck. So I want to take 8 weeks and I want to talk to you about how do I go from being stuck to becoming unstoppable? How do I find my dreams and my passions? How do I pick up the pieces and move forward? So we're going to be gathering together over the next 8 weeks. I hope that you watch every one of these, that you take notes and you tune in. We're going to take just a few minutes together to look at some scripture and to look at some coaching concepts that I believe will be beneficial to you. So get ready. If you've got a pen, take notes. If you need to go back and revisit this later, but I believe when we write things down, we remember things. So it's really important that you write down these strategies, these tips, these tools. So first of all, what I want to talk to you about today is how do I have the right mindset? How do I master my mindset? Now, what we're going to do over the next few weeks together, we're going to talk about the things that keep us stuck. There's actually 3 things that keep us stuck and from moving into our future. And the first one is our mind. How do I master my mindset? You know, guys, we have a majority of negative thoughts every day. Most of us rehearse these thoughts over and over and over in our mind. And a mindset is simply the way you think about things. Your mindset is simply the way you think about things. Matter of fact, the definition of mindset is the established set of attitudes and beliefs held by someone. That means you've established in your head a mindset, a way of doing things, a way of thinking, a way of processing. And most of us just naturally go into a robotic behavior with the way we think. Matter of fact, I find it's really, really interesting, and I was reading some statistics. According to the National Science Foundation, it says the average person has actually between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day. Now, literally, it's true that most men don't have as many thoughts as women. It did go on statistically that said that women have more thoughts than men. But you have anywhere from 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And here's what I thought was intriguing. It said that 80% of those thoughts are negative thoughts. That out of all the thoughts that you have all day long, 80% of your thoughts are negative. And it went on to tell us that 95% of the thoughts that you have are repetitive thoughts. That means you wake up with the same thoughts that you had yesterday, and you'll have the same thoughts again tomorrow. They've actually become a mindset. Do you ever find yourself just idly sitting there and kind of drifting off into space, and you're literally rethinking the same thought over and over again? The Bible tells us to take every thought captive by renewing your mind. So it's a great verse. Take every thought captive by renewing your mind. So what we're going to talk about today is how do I have the right mindset? How do I master my mindset? Maybe you think things like, I'm not smart enough. I'll never get a break. My marriage will never be like so-and-so's marriage. My kids will never get an A in school. Whatever it is that you're thinking, you rehearse those thoughts over and over. Negative thinking is more common than you might think. And here's the good news, is you're not the only one with negative thoughts. Most of us tend to think negatively. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what we do with that. What we have to do is we have to challenge our mindset. We have to stop right now. So one thing we're going to do in our coaching time together is I'm going to give you some tools on how to start to really think through your pattern of thinking and the thoughts that you have. What you have to do to overcome negative thinking is you have to do 2 things. Listen to me. You have to identify, and then you have to strategize. Can you write that down? Can you say that with me? You have to identify what those negative thoughts are and where they're coming from, and then you have to strategize. So the first thing is identify your negative thoughts. What triggers your negative thoughts? Now, the truth is that there's a trigger in that negative thought, maybe from your childhood. Maybe something happened to you. Maybe it was a moment in time where someone hurt you or harmed you or said something negative to you. I remember being in the 3rd grade and having a teacher say to me, Tammy, you may not be the smartest in the class, but you're a lot of fun. And what that did was it marked me as a little child to think that maybe I wouldn't be the straight A student, but I'd be a heck of a good time. So literally part of it is, yes, my personality. I'm an upbeat person. I'm a planner. I'm a strategizer, and people like to be around me. But as a child, it told me that I wasn't smart. And so I had to live that lie over and over every year, every grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. You may not be the smartest in the class, but you're a heck of a good time. Do you see how what someone said can literally mark you? And you begin to listen to the lie, believe the lie. So these negative thoughts come over you. What I want you to do during our time together is I want you to begin to trace, where did these negative thoughts come from? You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You'll never have enough. Maybe you've had a spouse that was unfaithful and you feel that every relationship's going to be that way in your life. So what you want to do is you want to start to look at all of your thoughts and ask, where are they coming from? Identify where those negative triggers are coming from. Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it an experience? I've done a lot of life coaching over my last 25 years, and I tell this story often because I think it's really makes a lot of sense. I was coaching a woman, and she shared with me how she and her husband had been married many, many years, and they had gone out to dinner to their favorite restaurant. And coming out that evening, they sat in the car, and he looked at her and he said, I need to share something with you. And he told her that he had been having an affair, but that he wanted to make it right, that he truly did love his wife, and he wanted to make it work. And they worked through counseling, and they worked through it. But she told me, Tammy, every time I passed that restaurant for years to come, all I could think about was the pain brought by the confession of his adultery. And that's what I believe happens. Something triggers in your mind. It could be a place. It could be something that was said to you. It is a memory, and you can't break the cycle of the pain in your life. Let me tell you right now, you have to take that thought captive by renewing your mind. There's another verse many of us love in Philippians 4:8. I used to say to my kids all the time when they would come to me with a struggle or a problem or a negative thought, did you take the Philippians 4:8 test today? Because the Bible says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are pure and true and right and of good report, and the list goes on. And then he says, think on these things. So guys, what you have to do right now to master your mindset is you have to be in control of your thoughts. I have learned that when a negative thought comes my way, and I have them just like you, I literally have learned to master my mindset in such a way that I take that thought captive. You will not have control of me. Whether it's a thought, a memory, a moment, an experience, I have so rehearsed my behavior. So a thought will come to me, and I, like I said, have them just like you. I immediately have retrained my mind, have retrained my thought process. I speak over it. Because listen to me, I believe every negative thought that you have is one of two things. It's either coming from a place of fear or it's a lie. And you have to ask yourself right now, is that thought, that negative thought I'm having, is that coming from a place of fear or a lie? So for me, I can say to myself, I'm not very smart. I'm not as smart as a lot of people, but I'm a heck of a good time. That's a lie. I literally am smart. I've started businesses. I've authored books. I'm articulate. I can communicate. So I have to literally go back into that classroom in my mind. I have to look at that teacher, and I have to say to her, that is a lie. I will not receive that as truth. Do you see how I've taken the thought captive? I have renewed my mind and switched my mind to say I am smart and I'm a heck of a good time. You have to take your thoughts captive. So you have to have a strategy. A strategy is a plan of action. So what I want you to do in our coaching time together is I want you to come up with your top 3 negative thoughts that you think over and over and over again. Come up with those 3. I want you to write them down. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write over that thought, is that fear or is that a lie? See, fear can say, I'll never be there. I'll never be able to do it. I can't do it. I'm afraid of a person. I'm afraid of the experience. And you realize, listen to me, fear is a spirit. The Bible tells us that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and a sound mind. So you literally can battle the spirit of fear with the spirit of God. So if you feel like maybe you've had an experience and you've been abused, you've been hurt, you've been abandoned, you've been a victim of something. So fear begins to creep in, and before long, you're crippled with fear. Do you realize, my friend, that's a spirit? And you literally have the power of God to overcome that spirit with the spirit of a sound mind and of power. So that's a battle that you're going to have to know you can win, but you have to be responsible for. In our few moments together, I just want to give you a couple tips that I think are really helpful. If you write these down, I believe that you can battle strategically that spirit of fear. The first thing you have to do is you have to understand your thinking patterns. Now, most of us will go into a moment of I want to call it regression, when we're idle, when we're bored, when we don't have anything to do. Maybe you're having a lazy moment. You're just sitting there thinking, and your mind's going to begin to rehearse. Because remember what I told you have these thinking patterns in your mind, and that remember what I said to you, 95% of everything you think every day is something that you already thought yesterday. So can I encourage you today to go from 5% of new thoughts to 10% of new thoughts? Read, study, research. Do your due diligence and begin to think new thoughts. So identify your thinking patterns. The second thing that's really important is you challenge your negative thoughts. When I have a negative thought, I have to challenge it and ask myself, is that even true? Because the truth is, the answer is no, it's not true. Did somebody tell me I wasn't smart? Yes. Is that true? No. Was I a victim of being abused or abandoned or hurt? Yes. But do I believe that lie? No. Do I have power over that? Yes. So you have to learn to challenge, write it down, and challenge every negative thought that you have. And then number 3, stop comparing yourself with everyone else. Listen, I gave you that statistic at the beginning of our time together so that you realize everyone is in the same boat. 85% of all of our thoughts every day are just going to be negative thoughts unless you break that over yourself, whether you break that statistic over yourself. So stop comparing and thinking everybody's life is perfect. We are not who we appear to be on Instagram or Facebook. Our life is not a bed of roses. We have to battle the same negative thoughts that you battle. So what you need to do is, again, what we said, identify and strategize. Identify and strategize. So stop comparing yourself. And then next, listen, this is one that's really hard, but I really believe it's helpful. Receive criticism as a friend. When someone comes to me and they begin to share things they see in my life, now listen, they have to be someone I respect and I value, but I have a network of friends that are my really close friends that I give permission to speak truth into my life. And one time I had a friend say to me, Tammy, you have thin skin. You're just too sensitive. You take things too personal. And I had to realize that my negative thoughts were coming from a place of sensitivity, of being too overly sensitive about everything everyone said. And I had to listen to criticism. I had to make criticism my friend. So make sure you're listening to valuable voices in your life and you're allowing people to speak truth into you, because you know what it did? It gave me backbone. It made me say, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be an overly sensitive person that was hurt by criticism. I want to be strong and bold and capable. And that literally challenged me to be a better person. And then number 5, the last one I want to share with you today, and it's so important, focus on your strengths. Listen to me, my friend. Everyone who's either watching on our YouTube channel or listening to me on our podcast today, you have strengths. God's given you gifts and talents and abilities. and harness what that is. Identify what that is. Get on your platform and use the gifts that God's given you to be the person that He's created you to be. So in our time, I love this one, guys. They're just going to be short little snippets, but you have to master your mindset. The first step to get unstuck before you can move to becoming unstoppable is master your mindset. Master your thought life. So I'm going to end with this. I want to encourage you to get some index cards. And I've just begun doing this. And I'm writing down scriptures. I'm writing down quotes. I'm writing down challenges to myself. And every night before I go to bed, they're at my bedside. And I literally go over those every night. My mantra, many of you maybe have heard me say it before, is I am on my way to becoming the woman God sees me to be. It's a journey that I profess, that I decree, that I am living out and acting out. I have favorite verses that I recite at night. So let me encourage you right now to master your mindset. Be responsible for your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, and your beliefs. Once you master your mindset, you will be on your way to becoming unstoppable. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I want to encourage you to follow us on all of our social media, our Facebook and our Instagram. Check us out at Women of Influence. If you're looking for a Bible study, you're looking for a way to stay connected with people. We love you guys. We appreciate you. We're in challenging times, but I'm telling you what, God is doing a great work in 2020 that we would not even believe if told. Have a great day. God bless you. I'll see you next week.